Hi, today I'm going to conduct a measuring demonstration on how to properly measure 7 different types of ingredients, and we'll get started with flour. So, for flour, I want to use a dry measuring cup. And when I'm measuring flour, I want to make sure to scoop it out using a spoon and not to actually use the measuring cup and dip it in the bag, because else it would make the flour packed in, and we don't want that. And the reason we don't want to pack in flour is because then the accurate measurement would not be correct. So I'll spoon it in, and this can get kind of messy, so make sure to do this over a bowl or the bag itself, and then level it off using the flat edge of a butter knife or an actual level tool. And that is how you actually accurately measure flour. So put that back. Alright, our next ingredient is granulated sugar. So with sugar, you don't have to worry as much about packing anything in. It's pretty simple to measure. You can actually just use a clean dry measuring cup to scoop it into the bag. So I'll take my measuring cup, put it in the bag, shake it to level it, and that's how you get an accurate measure of granulated sugar. Alright, so our next ingredient that we're going to measure is brown sugar. So for brown sugar, it's a little different than most other measurements because you want to pack it in the dry measuring cup. The reason you want to pack it into the dry measuring cup is so that all the air spaces between the sticky sugar molecules become removed and you get an accurate measure. Recipes are usually written for an accurate measure, and if you accurately measure everything, your recipe will turn out correctly. So, what I usually do is just scoop it with a clean measuring cup into the bag and pack it down, usually just using the bag to pack it so I don't have to touch anything or contaminate anything. And once I fill it up, that's how you measure brown sugar, and then it will just plop out. Alright, so our next ingredient that we are going to measure is oil, water, and other liquids. So I already have it in the measuring cup, but for these items, oil, water, and other liquids, you want to use a liquid measuring cup versus a dry measuring cup. The reason being is the measuring cups are designed for dry ingredients because they're in cups, while liquids are in ounces, and liquid measuring cups have ounces on it. So, right now, I'm at 8 ounces, or 1 cup, and when I look at my measurement, I want to be at eye level so that I can read above the meniscus, below the meniscus, because that is where the water is level. The meniscus is the air space above the water, so you want to read below the meniscus, right at eye level, and I have 1 cup. So that is how you measure oil, liquids, and other water, things like that. Alright, so next is small amounts of liquids. For small amounts of liquids, I want to use a measuring spoon since it's a small amount. So I have a small amount of liquid I want to measure of vanilla. And when I measure this, I want to be over the sink so that when I measure theoretically a sink, when I measure and it spills out, it's not going to affect the amount I put in my recipe. And that is how you measure a small amount of liquid using a measuring spoon. And we're just going to keep this. Alright, so our next measurement is spices. Spices are fun. There are so many different types of spices out there. I mean, it's unbelievable. But we are going to measure ground cinnamon. And for ground cinnamon, you can just screw the cap off with a clean measuring spoon again. Dip it in. Level it off by shaking it. And that is how you get an accurate measure of spices. And spices often come with a cap that also has holes in it, and this can be used for sprinkling, or if you, for say, need a dash of something, you can just simply open it and dash. Alright, so our final ingredient is shortening. And now shortening's a little more tricky because it's very sticky, but it's often used in homemade pastries and baked goods, so we need to learn how to measure it. I'm going to use a clean spoon, and I'm going to spoon it into a measuring cup. And with this, you can pack it down just like brown sugar until you get the right amount, using the back of the spoon to flatten. And this is how you get an accurate measure of shortening using a dry measuring cup. And since it's so sticky, I want to use either a rubber spatula or the spoon itself to remove it, because it can be a little difficult and messy. So I'm just going to use a rubber spatula to simply remove it. I've also heard of people spraying the measuring cup beforehand with Pam, which is another form of shortening, so that it can be easily removed. But I feel that sometimes it's quicker to just use a rubber spatula to get it right out and into your bowl to complete your recipe. So that's all for you guys. That's how you accurately measure 7 different types of ingredients. And if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. And I hope that this demonstration helps you for your future baking and cooking adventures.